Hey guys, this is my review of Sinbad Legend of the Seven Seas. I remember going to see this movie back in 2003 with my mom. We were originally going to watch Pirates of the Caribbean, but it was sold out, so we saw this movie instead, which I'm glad we did because I wanted to see both movies when they were out that summer. And also saw I got to see a lot of great movies in theaters in 2003. And this one did not disappoint. Well, some aspects of it did, but I'll get to that later. It is a fun action adventure adventure comedy fantasy set in ancient Greece where Brad Pitt is the voice of Sinbad, Captain Zeta Jones is his love interest Marina, Joseph Fiennes is his childhood friend Prince Proteus, Dennis Haysbert is Kale, his first mate, Frank Welker is Spike, his pet bulldog. I love that character. He's my favorite character in the movie. And Michelle Pfeiffer is the villain, Eris, the Greek goddess of discord and chaos. The entire voice cast does a good job of this movie, and you can tell they all had fun in their roles, and they had good chemistry. The animation style is excellent. It's 2D hand drawn animation, and people said have been speculating that's why it failed because computer animated movies were getting more popular while hand drawn animated movies were getting less popular and not making as much money anymore. And I think that's the main reason it failed. I think the main reason it failed is because it was released on July 2nd, 2003, 7 days away from the release of Pirates of the Caribbean Curse of the Black Pearl on July 9th. And as soon as that hit theaters, Sinbad had no chance at succeeding. If they had released it in May or June or August, maybe, it probably would have made a lot more money. Well, probably, maybe not in August because that's when school goes back. But it is a good movie nonetheless. I enjoyed it in theater. I still enjoy it today. Yeah, well, I mean, I've watched it several times, over countless over the years. In the story, Sinbad is a selfish pirate. He's arrogant. He always wants his way. And one day, when he attacks his ship to steal this book called the Book of Peace, it's like this magical book, and you don't really get into too much detail about why it's so important. I mean, they show you that it's magic. Like when you open it, there's like this holographic looking view of the city of Syracuse that they s- that they are delivering it to keep the city safe. And when later on, when the book is closed, when it's stolen, it's like causes some kind of earthquake or something, causes the city to shake a little bit, but nothing disastrous happens. And they don't really go into much detail about why the Book of Peace is so important. I mean, does it keep you from bad things from happening to you? Or, we don't know. That's one of my problems with the movie. Well, anyway, back to the story. Sinbad, when he goes to the ship to steal the book, he finds out that the captain of the ship is also his childhood friend Proteus, and they get into a brief duel over the book. But then the sea monster attacks, and they fight the sea monster. And you can tell the sea monster is computer animated by the way he looks. And they defeat the sea monster, but then Sinbad almost drowns, and when he's underwater, he meets Eris, goddess of chaos. She tells him that she makes a deal with him, saying, "If you have the Book of Peace, I'll pay you a lot of money." So Sinbad and his friends they go to Syracuse. He was going to steal the book, but then he changes his mind after he meets Protus's fiancee Marina, who is a former girlfriend of Sinbad, and he decides not to do it. And Eris, she finds this out. She disguises her magically, just uses her god powers to disguise herself as Sinbad and steals a book. And you're thinking, why didn't she do that to begin with? She didn't need Sinbad. She could have disguised herself as anyone she wanted. I mean, why did she need the Sinbad? She could have just like made herself invisible and snuck in there and took it. But that's another plot hole. And then she leaves behind evidence to frame Sinbad. Sinbad gets arrested, but he tells Proteus, "I didn't do it. Eris did it. She framed me." And Proteus believes, thinks he might be telling the truth, so he tells the judge to give them the right of substitution, where if Sinbad will leave the city and go on a mission to recover the book, and if he doesn't come back in a certain amount of time, Proteus will be executed in his place. And I mean, they let Sinbad go, and they arrest Proteus in his place. But why didn't Proteus just volunteer to go with him to make sure he got it. Of course, his fiance Marina, she sneaks on the ship and goes with Sinbad to make sure he does the job right. But why didn't Proteus just go with Sinbad to make sure he did it, or why didn't he, the judge or the king or whatever, why didn't he send some guards or soldiers along with Sinbad to make sure he doesn't break his promise and like runs away and becomes as fugitive? That don't make sense. But of course, we need Marina in there to continue the story of Sinbad's character arc because he falls in love with her along the way, and he she realizes she has feelings for him, and he becomes less selfish. Marina proves herself a hero during when their ship is attacked by these sirens, these water women made of water who sing music to hypnotize you, and then they try to seduce people and pull them in the water and drown them. Marina can't be affected by their singing because she's a girl, they so she takes command of the ship and drives it through the rocks and crashes it and tears it up. And Sinbad's mad because she tore up the ship, even though she saved him. And he later rescues her from a that giant bird that attacks him. A lot of these action scenes, aside from the big sea battle at the beginning, there's a lot of swashbuckling action to go with a pirate story. The rest of the scenes are just like a giant fish, a giant bird, sirens in this rocky place you're trying to get out of, not to crash the ship. And then when they get to Tartarus, they take a leap of faith down the waterfall into Tartarus, and the Mar- Marina and Sinbad they're attacked by these monsters, and Sinbad draws a sword that Era says no, 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 no. And she makes the swords disappear, and she tells the creatures to go away. And she said she makes a bet with Sinbad. If you get this book, will you go die? Yep. She said you're lying, and she banishes him. But he just goes back anyway to prove his point. And they don't execute Proteus. They're about to kill Sinbad, and but at the last moment, Eris realizes she's lost the bet, and she gives Sinbad back the book. Pieces of it's open. The city is in better shape now. But again, we don't know what the Book of Peace does, why it's so important. We just call the Book of Peace, so we assume it magically protects the city. But again, there's no chaos that comes upon the city other than the brief earthquake when the book is closed when it's stolen. But Sinbad's pardoned, he's set free, and Marine Proteus realizes Marina loves Sinbad. He lets her end up with him, and they all live happily ever after. Um, no, the ending seemed anticlimactic. I love action adventure pirate movies, and I wanted a bit more swashbuckling action. And there could have been like a big battle between Sinbad and Era. She could have like took one of Sinbad's swords and dueled him. We got to get to see how tough she is in battle, but they don't do that. That really sucked, and that's probably another reason why it failed. The action scenes weren't as cool as they thought it would be, and it didn't have this big showdown that we expected. And the villain doesn't even die; she just loses the bet and just decides to give the book back. Oh no, this is a good movie. I like it for what it is, even though it has flaws. I give it two thumbs up. All right, that's my review. If you like it, please hit the like button, subscribe for more great content. Thank you. God bless. Bye.